Beyond his academic achievements and media acclaim, Dr. Datta has actively served in key government roles, heading media and parliamentary affairs for the Defence Minister Shri Rajnath Singh Ji. Additionally, he has an integral part of the national teams associated with Education Minister Shri Dharmendra Pradhan Ji and Tourism and Culture Minister Shri G. Kishan Reddy Ji, adding a practical dimension to his distinguished career. Sir was one of the youngest team members of the former Prime Minister Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee Ji. However, Dr. Datta's passion for making a positive impact extends beyond the corridors of power. As a patron and social thinker, he collaborates with various NGOs and business houses to foster social growth and progress. In the presence of such eminence, I invite you all to join me in welcoming the esteemed Dr. Datta, a captivating speaker who will undoubtedly leave us enriched, inspired and eager to engage with the Mission 2047 Viksit Bharat. Please sir, the stage is yours.
नमस्कार। संध्या की समय है। जिस तरह का बरसात हुआ है वो सब मैं समझता हूँ कि शिव जी और माता रानी काल भैरव और काल भैरवी के रूप में आप सब के ऊपर आशीर्वाद का बौछार किए हैं। मैं देख रहा था पार्टीशन के हॉलोकास्ट के ऊपर ये नेशनल स्कूल ऑफ ड्रामा का ये छोटा सा ड्रामा। मेरा गुजारिश रहेगा आप सब से कि कृपया करके 30 सेकंड के लिए खड़े हो जाइए in honor of those who attained martyrdom in that Holocaust when our lovely country was divided. Thank you so much. Do forgive me if I'm little emotional because my family had faced the partition. Undivided Bengal. Our family used to have a very big zamindari riyasat in East Bengal as well as Bengal. My grandfather from my maternal side and my paternal side, they were very active in the politics of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose of the Indian National Army. I consider Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose to be the first Prime Minister of India because he was the one who had unfurled the tricolor in Andaman Islands as well as in Manipur and Nagaland. Pandit Nehru, this is my own individual thinking and historically it is true, he was the second nominated Prime Minister of our country, winning the election with only one single vote of his out of 11 votes from the 11 provinces of divided India. In that Holocaust, when my grandfather from my parents' maternal side and paternal side, when they had to leave East Bengal and the land holdings in East Bengal. Many of you must have heard about the Titagarh paper mill, the oldest paper mill of the Indian subcontinent. That used to be a paper mill of my paternal great grandfather. And we used to export indigenous handmade paper from India to Europe, including Germany, France, and other countries. Because they were very active in the freedom struggle, both my grandfathers, they had set for the Indian civil services in London just to prove that Indians are not inferior to the white. They set for it, they cleared the exam, they got the letter from the Queen, tore the letter and renounced the Indian civil services. Because of this, after independence, 14th of August, midnight, 1947, they were both arrested by the Jinnah government and they were kept under house arrest. My paternal grandfather and my maternal grandfather was released little earlier. He came back to India in 1952. Paternal grandfather was in Sylhet jail, Nazarband जिसको बोलते हैं, home arrest, till 1965, before the Indo-Pak War of 1965. When Pakistan was defeated in the Indo-Pak War, then he was released and he came to India after that, and 2 years or 3 years after that he died. During that Holocaust itself, when I was a toddler, I used to listen to stories from my grandmother, like मेरे पिता के जो चाचा थे, उनके जो मिसेस, मतलब other family grandmothers, they used to tell me that the Padma River, the Meghna River, the Jamuna River, which is Brahmaputra, and the Kushihara and the Barak River, and Buri Ganga River in Dhaka had become red on the Direct Action Day, and after that, because of countless dead bodies of Hindus, Christians, and Buddhists who were slaughtered, and mincemeat was done by the fanatic mob under the clarion call of Jinnah in the Direct Action Day. We all know about the great Calcutta killing of Direct Action Day of Suravati. But I think the Noakhali killing, the Lahore killing, the Rawalpindi killing, the Sialkot killing, Karachi killing, Dhaka killing, Habiganj killing, Sylhet killing, Chittagong killing, Murshidabad killing, Amritsar killing, Ludhiana killing, in which there was frenzy from both the sides from the Muslim side as well as the Hindu side. I think so big was the carnage that perhaps the great Calcutta killing would look small before those killings. Question also comes to mind as to क्या भारत का क्या एक ही बार बंटवारा हुआ है? I think 47 was the last Batwara of this country. Before I start in depth on that, as I said, it is a very pleasant evening, and I always dedicate my speech with a shloka to the goddess of learning. And this is a Vidya Mandir, so I dedicate it with Ma Saraswati's shloka, seeking for her blessings, ताकि मेरे तरफ से कोई त्रुटि ना हो, और अनजाने में अगर कोई त्रुटि हो तो माता रानी मुझे क्षमा करे। सरस्वती महाभागे विद्या कमललोचने विद्यारूपे विशालाक्षी विद्याधारी नमस्तुते। जय जय देवी चराचराशारे कुछ जब शोभित मुक्ताहारे बीना रंजित पुस्तक हस्ते भगवती भारती विद्यादेवी नमोस्तुते। सर्वमंगल मंगले शिवे सर्वार्थ साधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। सृष्टि स्थिति विनाशनम शक्तिभूते सनातनी गुणोमय गुणोश्रय नारायणी नमोस्तुते। सहस्र शस्त्र हरे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। सहस्र शस्त्र हरे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। ये श्लोक बोलने का और ये श्लोक बताने का एक कारण है। When we talk about knowledge, when we talk about culture, when we talk about civilization, when we talk about ancient past, and when we talk about vidya, विद्या तभी सुरक्षित रहती है जब उसके ऊपर शक्ति की आशीर्वाद हो। विद्या तभी सुरक्षित रहती है जब विद्या के साथ इटर्नल लक्ष्मी या फिर महालक्ष्मी जिनको कहते हैं, वो महालक्ष्मी की योगदान हो। यानी कि महाविद्या महादेवी माँ सरस्वती विद महालक्ष्मी एंड महाशक्ति, ये त्रिमूर्ति ही पूरा विद्या का भंडार बनाता है। और इसीलिए देवी पुराण में ये श्लोक है कि सहस्र शस्त्र हरि देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। सहस्र शस्त्र हरि देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। नारायणी नमोस्तुते इसलिए क्योंकि नारायण जिनको पूजते हैं, नारायण के जो बहन हैं वो नारायणी हैं, और क्योंकि नारायण पूजते हैं इसलिए वो श्रेष्ठ है। इसलिए नारायणी नमोस्तुते। नारायण ने जब देवी माँ की स्तुति की थी, जब राजा दक्ष के तरफ से जब वो हुआ था, सती का जब उन्होंने जब सेल्फ इमोलेट किए, और जब प्रलय हुआ था, शिव जी जब अपने तीसरे नेत्र खोल के तांडव कर रहे थे, तो उस समय महादेवी यानी कि आदि शक्ति को नारायण ने पूजा किया था, ये कहते हुए कि महाप्रभु महादेव को आप ही शांत कर सकते हो। और इसीलिए मैं आपको कहीं ना कहीं पे नमन करता हूँ नारायणी नमोस्तुते कह के, क्योंकि आप शिव दूती हो, यानी कि शिव के अर्धांगिनी हो। और इसलिए उनको ब्रह्मणी भी कहते हैं, शिवरानी भी कहते हैं, और नारायणी भी कहते हैं। दुनिया में संतुलन रखने के लिए और प्रलय के बाद दोबारा निर्माण करने के लिए, और निर्माण में विद्या की प्रकाश हो, तो इसलिए सहस्र शास्त्र हरे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते, यानी कि आपके हजारों भुजाओं में हजारों किताबें हैं विद्या की, जिसके माध्यम से जो प्रलय के दौरान और जब चरम गंदगी पे समाज जाती है और जब असुरी शक्ति हावी होता है, उनको सही दिशा दिखाने के लिए और उनको सही जगह पे लाने के लिए आप ये नॉलेज की जो किताब है, द बुक्स ऑफ नॉलेज, you enlighten the whole world with that books of knowledge through your 1,000 hands. And how do you do that? to make the demonic forces to renounce their Rajasic Sukh as well as their Tamasic Sukh, so that they can come back to the Sattvic Guna. उसके लिए सहस्र शस्त्रा हरे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते, यानी कि हजारों भुजाओं में विद्या की दीप प्रज्वलित करने के लिए आप ऐसे लोगों का हजारों शस्त्र के साथ आप ऐसे लोगों का ध्वंस करते हो और महिषासुर या फिर रक्तवीच या फिर धूम्रलोचन को आप खत्म करते हो और तब जाके आप पुनः स्थापित करते हो विद्या को। तो ये है भारत की इतिहास, ये है भारत की संस्कृति। पुरातन भारत, मैंने क्यों कहा कि ये अंतिम विभाजन है भारत का? मैं पुरातन काल पे जाता हूँ, अंग्रेज़ों के ज़माने पे आने से पहले लेट मी गो टू द एंशिएंट times. I go back to the civilizational period, which according to the Marxist historian like Romila Thapar and others, who were paid historians of the Congress and of the Marxist dominion, they wrote a history in which they reluctantly and grudgingly they accept India and Indian civilization to be 5,000 years old during the time of the Mohenjo-daro and the Harappa civilization. But then the carbon dating which has taken place in Kurukshetra as well as in Thanishwar and other places in Haryana, Kalibangan, Lothal in Gujarat, the Dwarkapuri, the submerged Dwarkapuri of Gujarat, Dwarka Bhet ke aage, and also of Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, and as far as Herat and Helmand and Sistan province of Afghanistan, the artifacts found there, the grains found there, the pottery found there, through carbon dating, it has been found that the Sanatani civilization of this country is no less than 20,000 to 35,000 years old, if not earlier. The Ram Setu structure and the Ram Setu pillars, and the stones which are there, which NASA as well as ISRO, the carbon dating which they did under the order of the Honorable Supreme Court of India when the UPA government was hell-bent upon in destroying the Ram Setu, the carbon dating of ISRO, and which was in a way given a kind of a ratification by the NASA, the carbon dating of those stones of Ram Setu has an age of 35,000 years to 1 lakh years before the last glacial age. And these are man-made structures. These are not natural structures, which has been proved by NASA as well as by ISRO. So in a nutshell, जब हम लोग सतयुग, त्रेता युग, द्वापर युग और कलयुग के बारे में कहते हैं, जब हम लोग कहते हैं कि लाखों साल पुराने हैं, वो कहीं ना कहीं पे दर्शाता है इन सब साइंटिफिक स्टडीज के माध्यम से. So therefore, this country is the mother of all civilization. This country is the culture of all civilization, and that is the reason why Latin is the daughter of Sanskrit, or for that matter, the modern English, the modern French, the modern Spanish, the modern German, the modern Dutch. These are granddaughters or granddaughters of Latin, and which means that the great-great-grandmother of all these languages is Sanskrit. This is what Bharat is all about. Let me come to Eastern Europe, 10 minutes I'll take on this and then I'll come to the modern period. Eastern Europe, starting from Lithuania, Estonia, Moldova, Serbia, Yugoslavia, Romania, Armenia, Spain, Portugal, Russia, Georgia, Belarus. There is a community called the Salvik Vedas. Now, who are the Salvik Vedas? The people who follow the Salvik Veda culture, they are not Christian, they are not Muslim. They are Salvik Vedic people. In India, we follow the 4 Vedas. The Salvik Veda people, they follow the 3 Vedas. The Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, and the Sam Veda. Their Adi Purush is Mahayogi, which is Kal Bhairav or Lord Shiva. And the Adi Mata is Mahayogini or Goddess Adi Shakti. In Ukraine, even after huge persecution, even now, they are 65,000 in number in Ukraine. This is per the statistics given by the European Commission, and these are official statistics. In Russia, they number around 1 lakh, and the rest of the European countries, another 1.5 lakh. So that's one that shows the strong connectivity between India and the Salvik Vedic people. Ancient Armenia, when St. Paul's and St. Dominic, under the first crusade, when they invaded ancient Armenia for the establishment of Christian religion, there was a pitched battle which was fought with a Brahmin kingdom in ancient Armenia, and this is there in the writings of as well as Saint Dominic of the Old Testament. In that pitched battle of this Brahmin kingdom of Armenia, who according to them were pagan worshipper, because they used to worship a kind of a deity who were 3-headed and had long hair with a crescent moon and water flowing down. That is the description which is there. That is no one but Lord Shiva. And the priest who defended the temple in Armenia, they were 5,000 Brahmin priests. After the defeat of the kingdom of Armenia, the Brahmin kingdom of Armenia, all these people were forcefully converted into Christianity. The Roma Gypsy, the Gypsies of Romania, Austria, Hungary, Spain and other areas, today they are Christian, but culture-wise, Sanskriti-wise, tradition-wise, they are Hindu. Why? Because their religion is definitely Christian, but then their script, their scripture, as well as their philosophical books are all directly, indirectly connected with Sanskrit, Pali and Prakrit literature. The DNA test of a Roma Gypsy, which was done by Cambridge University as well as by Paris University and other universities, and the DNA structure of the Bhil community of Rajasthan and Gujarat, both were, studied. The DNA structure of the Roma Gypsies and the Bhil and the, like Adivasi community from Sindh, Rajasthan and Gujarat, the DNA structure and the blood group is exactly the same. What happened was, like Muhammad Ghori, in his Ghori Nama, he writes, and I quote, when Muhammad Ghori invaded India And when he was conquering western part of India, Rajasthan, Sindh, Bawalpur in Pakistan, as well as Baluchistan, then Jammu Kashmir and other places, he had taken almost around 5 to 6 lakhs slaves, male slaves, and another 5 to 6 lakh Hindu women as captive slaves. While going from Rajasthan up to Ghazni and then to Kabul, while on the way, almost 60% of the enslaved population, they died because of natural calamities, because of the huge natural disasters in the Thar desert of Sindh and Rajasthan, and also in the Hindu Kush mountain. The rest who survived the natural calamities during winters and came to Ghazni, they were all made slaves, as any conqueror does, irrespective of religion. Any conqueror does that. The males were made slaves, the women were sold as sex slaves. The Blue Mosque in Ghazni, and I quote again a couplet from there. In the main entrance of the Blue Mosque in Ghazni, there is a couplet written in Arabic which says, Duktare Hind Nilame Do Dinar. Duktare Hind is what? Duktare Hind is actually Dukhiari Hind. Hind is India, Dukhihari. Dukhihari is, of course, the woman. Duktare. Nilame do dinar. Nilam in 2 dinar each. They were sold in the bazaar of Ghazni, as well as in the bazaar of Kabul, and later on in Baghdad. It took the Arabic hordes almost around 360 to 370 years to capture Afghanistan. Series of battles, one after another. First, they tried to enter Afghanistan through Iranian Baluchistan and Pakistan Baluchistan. They did not succeed from the Helmand Herat area. The kingdom of Zabulestan, which is below Kabul, the ancient kingdom of Zabulestan, who were the people of Zabulestan, they used to worship the sun god. And the ancient temple of sun god in Herat in Afghanistan used to be the biggest sun temple of the Indian subcontinent. The description given by the Muslim saints who had traveled as travelers during that period with the Arabs, they describe that the idol of the sun god was made out of 200 mon, which means 200 kilotons of pure gold, with almost around 30 carat each of ruby in the eyes, red ruby in the eyes, so much so, and the crystal ruby was so clear that it used to be visible from 10 kilometers away from the deserts of Baluchistan of Iran and Afghanistan, and the sun rays which used to fall used to reflect back, and the rubies used to shine. So when the Arab general, when he invaded Herat and when he destroyed the temple there, and he writes in the memoir to the Raja of Zabulestan, O king of the infidels, see, I have destroyed your temple and your deity could not protect you, so who will protect you? Come to the Sharan of the Khalifa of Baghdad. Khalifa ke Sharan mein aa jao aur aap bach jaoge. And then Zabulistan was converted after that, and then started the onslaught for Kabul and for Gandhara and Balkh. Raja Anand Pal and Raja Jaipal of the Hindu Shahi kingdom of Kabul, of Balkh. Balkh in those days used to be known as Balaka. And Balaka is a flower in Sanskrit, a sacred flower, and that flower is present in a big way in the Balkh province. So Balkh is the Afghani or the Pushto name, and Balaka is the Sanskrit name. The temple city of Sistan in Balaka used to be known as Shivstan, because there used to be a big Shiva temple there. And we all know that Gandhari used to be an ardent follower and ardent worshipper of Lord Shiva. So that part of the country was, before the Islamic invasion or before the conversion, was Hindu-Buddhist in nature. Right from Afghanistan to Central Asia, that whole area was Hindu-Buddhist in nature, because we have a fire temple in Baku in Central Asia, then we have a fire temple in Uzbekistan even now. There is a temple of Lord Vishnu in Kazakhstan. There is a temple of Lord Shiva in Kyrgyzstan as well as in Turkmenistan. So, and the name of the countries is actually Stan. Afghanistan, Stan is Desh in Sanskrit, land of the Afghans. Uzbekistan, land of the Uzbek. Turkmenistan, land of the Turkman. Kyrgyzstan, land of the Kyrgyz. Iran comes from the word Aryan, and Aryan comes from the word Arya. In Iran, there is a river which is known as Irasvati, and they claim that Irasvati river is Saraswati river, the legendary Saraswati river. Sa in Persian is Ha, so it is Irasvati. There is no Sa in Persian. The ancient city of the Persian Empire is known as Nishabur. Nishabur comes from the word Nishapur. Nisha means twilight, Pur means city. Nishapur. Arya is the official, Ariana or Arya is the official airlines of Iran. The word Iraq comes from the Greek word ark, and ark originates from the word Orko. Orko is the other name of Lord Surya. Aditya is one name, Surya is other name, Arka is the third name. So Arka became Ark, Ark became Iraq. Syria, in Damascus area of Syria, the archaeologists have found a huge ancient remains of a huge temple structure of the sun, or a sun temple. Ancient Syria used to be known as Surya. From that sun temple, Surya became Syria. Egyptian civilization, the presiding deity of the Egyptian civilization of the pharaohs used to be Lord Aditya or Surya, and he was known as Ra in Egyptian civilization. The cult of Mother Goddess is a common cult in the Sumerian civilization, the Babylonian civilization, the Persian civilization, the Sindhu Saraswati Sabhata, also in the civilization of Southeast Asia, East Asia, going right up to Tibet, Central Asia, as well as the Hunan province of China. So there is a common identity there. Mother Goddess is known as Mother Mary in Christianity, and in Islam she is known as Maryam. So Maryam is Aditi in Sanskrit, or Mother Goddess, and Mary in Christianity. In Buddhist philosophy, the cult of Goddess Tara, of both the Hinayana and the Mahayana Buddhism and the Tantric Buddhism of Tibet, where Goddess Tara has 21 forms, 21 different depiction. In Hindu pantheon, we have the Das Mahavidya and the Nav Durga. But in Tantric Buddhism and in Hinayana and Mahayana Buddhism, Tara has 21 depiction. And she is considered to be the mother goddess or the godmother of Bodhisattva or Lord Buddha. So Tara is there in Buddhism also, Mariam is there in Islam, and Mary is there in Christianity, and Aditi or Durga is there in the Indic civilization. Southeast Asia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, I will not touch because everyone knows that कल ही बंटवारा हुआ है और उससे पहले भारत का ही हिस्सा था. Let me go to Southeast Asia and East Asia. Southeast Asia, Myanmar, Burma. Burma originates from the word Brahma. In ancient times, Burma used to be known as Brahmadesa or Brahmadesh. From Burmadesh, in Burman language or Burmese language, Brahma became Burma. And from Burma, now they have made it Myanmar. The Irrawaddy River in Burma, which is the national river of Burma, Irrawaddy is actually Iravati. Iravati is the consort of Lord Indra. The Buddhist mound in Pegu and the Golden Pagoda in Rangoon, in Yangon, there are numerous temples besides the temple of the sleeping Buddha and the Bodhisattvas. There are numerous temples dedicated to Brahma, Vishnu, Lord Shiva and Goddess Tara, together with Gajapati or Lord Ganesh. Further you go, Thailand. Ancient name of Thailand is Siam. Siam comes from the word Sham. Sham could be Lord Krishna. One name of Lord Krishna is Sham. Sham teri bansi pukare Radha naam. Or it could be Sham or evening. The kings of Thailand have Rama attached with them. So Rama 1, Rama 2, Rama 3. The present king of Thailand is Rama the 17th. The previous king of Thailand, Bhumibal Atulya Dej, Rama the 16th. Bhumi, earth. Bal, power. Atulya, sun. Dej comes from the word Tej, or the light of the sun. In the palace of the Thai king, even now, every day, Sanskrit shlokas are recited in the morning from Rig Veda, as well as from the Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana and Mahabharata. And there are 5 Brahmin priests in the Thai king's palace. All these 5 Brahmin priests, they have their allegiance to the Brahmin family, 5 Brahmin family of Ayodhya, the Ayodhya of UP. The ancient capital of Ayodhya, the ancient capital of Thailand is known as Ayodhya. Ayodhya is the ancient capital of Thailand, and the Thai legend and the Thai people, they say that Ramayana and Lord Ram and Sita Mata, they are basically Thai prince and Thai princess, जिनको भारत ने चुराया है उनके लेजेंड को थाईलैंड से, और भारत ने चोरी करके भारतीय रामायण तैयार किए हैं. The Thai people are so sensitive for Lord Ram and Goddess Sita, they will just kill you if you say something against them. And they say कि हमारे जो राष्ट्रीय किताब है वो रामायण है, क्या आपके भारत का राष्ट्रीय किताब रामायण है? और इस तरह से व्यंग करते हैं वो. कंबोडिया में आप जाओ, कंबोडिया comes from the word Kampuchea comes from the word Cambodia. Cambodia you go, कंबोडिया का खुद का कंबोडियन वर्जन है रामायणा का, और वो उस रामायणा को रामाकिन कहते हैं। लाओस यू गो, Laos, you will see their own version of Ramayana. There is a Laotian version of Ramayana, there is a Thai version of Ramayana, there is a Filipino version of Ramayana, there is a Vietnamese version of Ramayana, there is a Hunani version of Ramayana in China, and there is also a Malaysian, Indonesian, and a Burmese version of Ramayana. और इंडोनेशिया तो बहुत विचित्र है। In Indonesia, you not only get a Balinese version of Ramayana, you also get a Javanese version of Ramayana, you get a Sumatran version of Ramayana, you also get a Kalimantan and the Sriram Island or the Sulawesi version of Ramayana. So there are very many versions of Ramayana and many versions of Mahabharata. The national book of Indonesia is again Ramayana. It's the largest Islamic country of the whole world. Malaysia, the present Prime Minister of Malaysia, Mahathir Mohamad. What is the meaning of Mahathir? Have you all ever thought about it? कोई जानते हैं कि महातीर का मतलब क्या है? किसी को पता? आपको लग रहा होगा कि तीर है तो महातीर होगा, हाँ? Mahathir is the other name of Gandiv of Lord Shiva. अर्जुन ने जो गांडीव तोड़ा था द्रौपदी के स्वयंवर के लिए, उसकी एक नाम है महातीर। PM is Muslim, Muhammad is his title, name is Hindu, Mahathir. Meghavati Sukarnaputri. Meghavati, the former president of Indonesia. Megha, cloud, Vati, daughter. Sukarno, the father of the nation of Indonesia. Putri, daughter. Meghavati Sukarnaputri. In Indonesia, every woman is addressed as a Bhumiputri and every man is addressed as a Bhumiputra. In Malaysia, every man is addressed as a Bhumiputra and every woman as a Bhumiputri. हमारे देश में अनफॉर्चुनेटली स्पाइडरमैन बच्चों का हीरो है, भारत में है कि नहीं? हाँ, पता है इंडोनेशिया में सुपर हीरो कौन है? बता सकते हो? मालूम है? नो? इट इज हनुमान। हनुमान जी को वहां पे संकट मोचना बोलते हैं। संकट, वो थोड़ा स्प्रेड करके बोलते हैं, संकट मोचना। हनुमान, ही इज द सुपर हीरो इन इंडोनेशिया। हर इंडोनेशियन घर में जाओगे, जो मुसलमान घर है, सुन्नी मुस्लिम ग्रंथ को मानते हैं, इन दी ड्राइंग रूम वस्तु के हिसाब से ऑन वन कॉर्नर यू विल गेट गजापति। दे डोंट कॉल हिम गणेश, दे कॉल हिम गजापति। और इंडोनेशिया में हाथी को गजा बोलते हैं, यू नो। सो गजापति ऑन वन साइड, अदर साइड इज संकट मोचन on the other side, where the deity of Gajapati is there and he's a 8-headed deity. Asht Ganesh जो है, थाईलैंड में भी अष्ट गणेश है, you know, not 1-headed or 3-headed, it's अष्ट गणेश। वहाँ गजापति के वहीं पे कॉर्नर पे on one side is Ramayana and Bhagavad Gita, on the other side is Quran, the Holy Quran. That is the significance of Indonesian Islam. When Ayub Khan from Pakistan, when he went to Indonesia at the invitation of Sukarno, he landed at the Jakarta Airport, Indonesians, they get very offended if you say Jakarta. They said it's rubbish. Jakarta is the colonial or the Dutch name or the anglicized name. It is Yogi Katra or Yogi Katera. And when you ask them what do you mean by yogi, they say yogi from Mahayogi, Lord Shiva. Katera from Kshetra. Kshetra means city. Yogi Kshetra becomes Yogi Katra. And Jakarta is the Dutch version. You land at the airport through Garuda Airlines or the Garuda Airlines, and he is the national bird of Indonesia, Garuda, of the Vahan of Lord Vishnu. गरुड़ एयरलाइन से जब आप जकार्ता में उतरते हो या फिर बाली में उतरते हो, कहीं पर भी उतरते हो, people when they come and greet you, they greet you with a Om Saste Nastu. What is the meaning of Om Saste Nastu? पता है? नहीं पता? आप लोगों की दोष नहीं है, मैकॉले एजुकेशन ने ये सब किया है. The meaning is, I welcome you to my country in the name of Om, which is the most sacred symbol of the universe. May the blessings of Om fall on your family and your extended family so that you always remain in peace and prosperity. Who are the people who greet? They are all Muslims. Ask them their name, they'll say Parvati Iqbal. Lakshmi is a very common name. Parvati is a very common name. Saraswati is a very common name in Indonesia. Ask any woman, आपका नाम क्या है? सरस्वती इकबल, Lakshmi Muhammad, Parvati Nam Muhammad. Ask a male member, what's your name? Proudly बोलेगा कि Ram Muhammad, Krishna Muhammad, then Hanuman Muhammad, Sugriv Muhammad, Bali Muhammad, Bali. इस तरह से. तो आयुब खान जब गए, उनको ओम सस्ते नस्तु करके वो किया गया, इनवाइट किया गया. वो उसी पे तिल मिला गए कि ये तो पूरा दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा मुसलमान मुल्क है और ये मुझे ओम सस्ते नस्तु करके इनवाइट कर रहा है, जो काफिरों का एक श्लोक है. So he was very perturbed when Sukarno greeted him with the Om Saste Nastu. केवल वही नहीं, ग्रीट करके हाथ में थमा दिए रामायण आयुब खान के. आयुब खान was hysteric. ये क्या? ये तो मुझे और बेइज्जत कर रहा है. Still he tolerated because he was the state guest. रामायण अपने जनरल की तरफ देखे और ऐसे फेंके जनरल की तरफ. And these are all there in the wiki files as well as in Wikipedia. तो देने के बाद फिर आगे चलने लगे. तो आयुब खान ने पूछा कि आपका नाम सुकार्नो क्यों है? सुकार्नो का मतलब क्या है? सुकार्नो ने मुस्कुरा के जवाब दिया. And he said, Sukarno comes from the word Karno or Karan of Mahabharata. My father, Suharto. Suharto comes from the word Shubharto. Shubh, sacred blessings, Harto. Suharto, my father, was very, very fascinated by रामायण एंड महाभारता एंड बाय भगवद गीता. और वो डेली भगवद गीता पढ़ते थे. और उनका जो हीरो था, वो हीरो था कर्ण. पर क्योंकि कर्ण गलत लोगों के साथ था, कौरवास के साथ था, गलत लोगों के साथ, तो इसलिए उन्होंने सु लगा दिया. सु शुभ से, सु कार्नो, ताकि करण की तरह तो बनो पर काम हो सारे शुभ, इसलिए सुकार्नो. फिर मिर्ची लगा आयुब खान को. शाम के समय राष्ट्रीय भोज हुआ। राष्ट्रीय भोज होने के बाद फिर सुकार्नो ने कहा चलिए हम आपको अपना नेशनल थिएटर दिखाते हैं, शेडो पापेट्री पे आधारित। तो आयुब खान ने कहा कि ये शायद कुछ अलग होगा, शायद कारबला की लड़ाई के बारे में होगा, या फिर पैगंबर मोहम्मद जी ने जो मदीना पे जो फतेह हासिल किए थे, या फिर मक्का में जब उन्होंने इस्लाम का स्थापित किया था, वो सब चीज़ों का कुछ होगा शायद। तो जब पापेट्री दिखाया गया, शेडो पापेट्री पूरा आधारित ही था सीता हरण को लेके, और द्रौपदी स्वयंवर से लेके, और रावण और भगवान राम की लड़ाई को लेके, और वानर सेना को लेके। आयुब खान इतना ज़्यादा भौखला गया इस चीज़ से, ही गॉट सो पेट्रिफाइड एंड सो एनॉयड that he immediately said, I am curtailing my state visit, which was for 3 days, and I am going back to Rawalpindi by the next chartered flight immediately after the completion of this cultural celebration. कल्चरल सेलिब्रेशन ख़त्म हुआ जकार्ता एयरपोर्ट से, जिस चार्टर्ड विमान से वो आए थे उसी चार्टर्ड विमान से वापस चले गए इंडोनेशिया से पाकिस्तान। तो ये तो सच्चाई है वहाँ का। अब एक और बात बताता हूँ। महाजी पाहित किंगडम, शायद बहुत लोगों ने सुना होगा। महाजी पाहित, द ग्रेट किंग ऑफ मलाक्का पेनिनसुला, ऑफ मलाक्का स्ट्रेट। सो द महाजी पाहित किंगडम, the last king of that kingdom, Mahaji Payet, 1698, the Sufi saints from Arabia was successful in influencing him to renounce the Hindu faith and accept Islam. So the royal family of Indonesia accepted in Islam and of Malaysia, because that time Malaysia and Indonesia was one, and the kingdom extended from southern part of Thailand and Myanmar right up to Philippines. It was a huge kingdom, and their main trade was on spice. So और इसलिए मतलब कि इतना ज़्यादा पैसा था उस किंगडम के पास कि जो जितने सारे मुस्लिम सेंट्स हैं वो जो वर्णन करते हैं, वो कहते हैं कि हर 10 कदम 15 कदम में तो एक सोने की शहर दिखाई देता है, क्योंकि इतना रिच था वो किंगडम। सो एंड द अरब्स वांटेड द प्लंडर ऑफ दैट किंगडम फॉर अरेबिया, सो दे इन्फ्लुएंस्ड द किंग महाजी पाहित, saying that renounce the faith, come back to Islam, accept Islam and patronize this religion. So he converted into Islam and he started patronizing. Almost 2/3 of his royal family member, they fled from Java. They took refuge in Bali. और इसीलिए बाली में अभी भी 84% से लेके 85% हिंदू हैं, बालिनीज हिंदू। The rest of the kingdom got converted gradually into Islam, and the state religion became Islam. That very year, when the king was converting into Islam after the Khatna ceremony, so around that time, the royal Purohit, he said to the king, "O king, you are renouncing your religion of your ancestor, and I curse on you, O king, this country will always be ignited by fire, and Indonesia will never ever be in peace. And the volcanic eruption in Indonesia will be so high that Indonesia will always look like a kingdom of fire." And the royal priest, he left Indonesia. So the curse of Mahaji Pahet is a very terrified curse in Indonesia, even now. And people are very, very scared of that curse. That very year, Mount Agung in Java, an active volcano, erupted in a big way. The eruption was so huge as per the chronicles of the Chinese travelers, they say that the half of Java got devastated and almost 1/3 of Java went under the sea because of that eruption in 1698. The rest of the priests who were present there in the in the palace of Mahaji Payet, who was now a sultan, they pleaded with him, saying that please erect a statue of Gajapati, of Lord Ganesh, in Mount Agun, facing the crater of Mount Agun. So the king accepted the request and he erected a 200 feet tall idol of Lord Ganesh in Mount Agun, facing the crater of Mount Agun. And Indonesians, they say that since then Mount Agun has never ever erupted. And on the day of Ganesh Chaturthi, millions and millions of Indonesian Muslims, they go to Mount Agun to pray to Gajapati for seeking his blessings. And Gajapati is considered to be the deity who is a protector. और इसीलिए इंडोनेशियन रुपए जो 20,000 के रुपए और 50,000 के रुपए जो हाईएस्ट डिनोमिनेशन के रुपए है इंडोनेशिया के, वहाँ पे गणेश जी का चित्र है, टुगेदर विद द चित्र ऑफ द सुल्तान ऑफ इंडोनेशिया एंड नाउ द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडोनेशिया. 50,000 का रुपए आप लोगे या फिर 20,000 का रुपए लोगे, एक तरफ गणेश जी का प्रतिमा है, दूसरे तरफ प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडोनेशिया का तस्वीर है और नीचे लिखा हुआ है दिस नोट इज इन द कस्टडी ऑफ कुबेर. That is there in every Indonesian rupee. That is the greatness of Indonesian Islam. Malaysia, I told you. The kingdom of Champa, South Vietnam. Kingdom of Champa, there are numerous temples dedicated to Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati. The Cham people in South Vietnam, half of them are Hindu and Buddhist and half of them are Islam. So in Vietnam it is there. In Cambodia, the annual ritual in Cambodia is based on the ritual of Shivratri. It's a Buddhist country. Thailand is a Buddhist country. Vietnam is a Buddhist country. Laos is a Buddhist country. But their annual festival is based on Shivratri and on Navratri. आप सब मुझे बताओ कि दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा नवरात्रि सेलिब्रेशन कहाँ पे होता है? इतना शांत क्यों हो? बताओ. हाँ? कोलकाता या फिर भारत के किसी प्रांत पे? आपकी जवाब गलत है. कोलकाता नहीं, बैंकॉक के नवरात्रि सेलिब्रेशन. गूगल पे ज़रा टाइप करो या फिर यूट्यूब पे टाइप करो, नवरात्रि सेलिब्रेशन ऑफ बैंकॉक इज द बिगेस्ट कार्निवल ऑफ महिषासुर मर्दिनी. इट्स अ 9 days सेलिब्रेशन बैंकॉक पे और पूरा पब्लिक हॉलीडे होता है वो 9 दिन थाईलैंड में नवरात्रि के दौरान. और हर कोई 9 दिन का व्रत रखते हैं थाई जो बुद्धिस्ट है. और महादशमी के दिन बहुत बड़ा सेलिब्रेशन निकलता है. हजारों झांकियां महिषासुर मर्दिनी की, गॉडेस दुर्गा की, कामाक्षी की और गॉडेस काली की, टुगेदर विथ ऑल अदर हिंदू डेटीज. और उस सेलिब्रेशन में ऐसे तो भस्म छिटाया जाता है like from the downtown area of Bangkok, और लोगों के बीच में स्टैम्पेड होती है उस भस्म को पाने के लिए। और इतना सा भस्म अगर किसी के शरीर पे लग जाता है तो वो कहते हैं कि मुझे तो वो मिल गया है, मोक्ष मिल गया है। उस सेलिब्रेशन पे एक ही नारा लगता है, वो है ओम शक्ति ओम। शक्ति, CAKTI, it's not Shakti, it's Sakti. Om Sakti Om, and that's how they do Om Sakti Om, Om Sakti Om, Om Sakti Om. And this is the biggest Navratri celebration in the whole world, the Navratri celebration of Bangkok. There is Mount Meru in Thailand. The airport of Thailand is Suvarnabhumi Airport. You land at the airport. On one side you will see a sitting Garuda. On the other side you will see Lord Hanuman. In between is a 200 feet sleeping विष्णु, जो वासुकी के ऊपर जो भगवान विष्णु सोए हुए हैं और लक्ष्मी जी इस तरफ, वो प्रतिमा है 200 फीट लंबा। और सुवर्णभूमि एयरपोर्ट नाम है एयरपोर्ट का। थाईलैंड पे संस्कृत, पाली, प्राकृत अनिवार्य है, कंपलसरी है स्कूल्स में। Indonesia पे it is compulsory to know the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, and the Ramayana and Mahabharata in the original Sanskrit form. इंडोनेशिया के एक मुसलमान बच्ची और एक मुसलमान बच्चे से पूछो, वो आपके साथ संस्कृत में वार्तालाप करेंगे और आप भाग जाएंगे, क्योंकि आप एक शब्द बोल नहीं पाओगे संस्कृत में। इन कंबोडिया Sanskrit, Pali, Prakrit is compulsory. Same is the case in Laos. Same is the case in Vietnam. Same is the case in Burma. I go further. Let me come to Philippines. Philippines में फिलिपिनो जो ओरिजिनल इंडिजिनस पीपल हैं, वो लोग किसी भी श्रेष्ठ व्यक्ति को देवता कहते हैं। देवा या फिर देवता। Any sacred man is known as देवा और देवता। The four corners of the horizon, they address it as Dakshina, Uttara, Purav, Paschima। 8 नवग्रह की बहुत ही बड़े पैमाने पे वहाँ पे पूजा होती है, और फिलिपिनो एस्ट्रोलॉजी में उनकी बहुत बड़ा स्थान है। जो राहु है, राहु देवता नवग्रह के, उनको लाहू कहा जाता है फिलीपाइंस में, और आपके केतु को केतु बोलते हैं। फिलिपिनो लैंग्वेज में आप अगर उठा के देखेंगे तो सैकड़ों ऐसे वर्ड्स हैं जिसकी ओरिजिन संस्कृत से है, पाली से है, प्राकृत से है। जो चोला किंगडम था तमिलनाडु का, अभी जब विवाद हुआ था पिछले बार, जब मोदी जी ने सिंगल को स्थापित कर दिया था पार्लियामेंट में, नया पार्लियामेंट में, विपक्ष तो मातम मना रहे थे उसको लेके। वो चोला किंगडम के जो जितने सारे राजा थे, उनके यहाँ पे सिंगल रखा जाता था इन द चोला किंगडम। एंड द चोला किंगडम, the territory of the Chola kingdom used to extend from the whole of southern India right up to Orissa, Jharkhand, Bengal, Bangladesh, Burma, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Papua New Guinea, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam। पूरा ये प्रांत था जो चोला किंगडम का साम्राज्य था। श्री विजया और श्री संजया डायनेस्टी of Upper Indonesia, Malaysia, and the three Vijaya dynasty of Lower Indonesia, they used to be vassal state or tributary state of Raja Raja Chola the Great and Rajendra Chola the Great। और वहाँ पे एक बार क्या हुआ कि फिलीपींस के मिंदानाओ गांव, द मिंदानाओ प्रोविंस ऑफ फिलीपींस, वहाँ पे कुछ लोगों ने बगावत किया। वहाँ के जो आदिवासी जो कबीले के जो लोग हैं, तो राजेंद्र चोला ने उनके कज़न को भेजा तमिलनाडु से फिलीपींस पे जाने के लिए और उस बगावत को ख़त्म करने के लिए. On the way, the cousin of Rajendra Chola married a Malaysian princess in 1498 by King Philip of Spain. और किंग फिलिप के नाम पे ही फिलीपाइंस पड़ा बाद में. तो when the Spaniard conquered Philippines, the king who was defeated was a Hindu king of Tamilian Malay origin. तो इसलिए आप कल्पना करो कि चोला किंगडम का साम्राज्य कितना बड़ा था. द बिगेस्ट एम्पायर इन द होल वर्ल्ड. वेस्टर्न स्कॉलर्स झूठ फैलाते हैं कि अलेक्जेंडर की जो साम्राज्य था वो सबसे बड़ा साम्राज्य था. सच्चाई वो नहीं है. सच्चाई ये है कि द मगध किंगडम, द मौर्यन किंगडम of Chandragupta Maurya and Ashoka was the biggest empire in the whole world, and the territory of the Mauryan kingdom extended for 5 million square kilometers, which included the whole of Central Asia, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, Xinjiang province of China, half of Xinjiang, that time it used to be known as Yarkand and Khotan, and also half of Tibet, including the Mansarovar area, Kailash Mansarovar area. Up to that, Nepal, going right up to Brahmadesa, right up to the Arakan hills of Burma, the whole of East Bengal, the almost whole portion of Northeast, including Sikkim and Bhutan and Nepal, and up to Tamil Nadu in southern India. Sri Lanka and Maldives used to be a vassal state or a tributary state of the Mauryan kingdom. So the biggest kingdom of the Indian subcontinent is the Mauryan किंगडम. भारत का पहला बंटवारा सांस्कृतिक दृष्टिकोण से मैं समझता हूं कि तब हुआ जब महाजी पाहित किंगडम का पतन हुआ, एंड व्हेन द महाजी पाहित किंगडम कन्वर्टेड इनटू इस्लाम. सो दैट पार्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड लॉस्ट इट्स कनेक्शन विथ इंडिया. Modern times we come. Afghanistan. We all know about Gandhari. गंधारी के बारे में ज़्यादा नहीं कहूँगा, गंधार प्रदेश से थी वो. बल्ख के बारे में मैंने बता दिया, बलाका. नीचे की तरफ अगर आप आएंगे, किसी को पता है महारानी कैकेयी कहाँ की थी? Anyone knows? राजा दशरथ की जो अर्धांगिनी कैकेयी, शी वॉज फ्रॉम वेयर? हाँ? हु टोल्ड यू फ्रॉम बंगाल? वेयर डिड यू गेट दिस इंफॉर्मेशन? शी वॉज नॉट फ्रॉम बंगाल, शी वॉज फ्रॉम बलूचिस्तान. Baluchistan, that part of Baluchistan which is not the Pakistan Baluchistan but the Iranian and the Afghan part of Baluchistan. There is a Sistan in Baluchistan in Iran which originates from the word Shivstan. There used to be a huge temple of Lord Shiva there. Then together with that there used to be as I said, a very big temple of Lord Shiva in Sistan in Afghanistan. So that used to be the cultural aspect of Afghanistan. The last province of Afghanistan which got converted into Islam is in 1898. Just 125 years back. Panjshir वैली, जहाँ पे तालिबानों के साथ बहुत संघर्ष हुआ था नॉर्दर्न अलायंस का, Panjshir. You know, Panjshir, city of the Sher, the Panchashir or the Lion Kingdom. Panjshir Valley is in that province. That province, before its conversion into Islam in 1898 by the last Amir of Afghanistan, Dost Muhammad, it used to be known as Kafiristan. 1898, that final province came under the influence of Islam. From Kafiristan, it became Nuristan. The new name is Nuristan. So the Kalash people of Chitral in Pakistan and the Nuristani people of Nuristan, they are of the same clan. Kalash people, their height is almost around 6 feet 7 inch to almost around 7 feet, male members, and female members are almost around 6.4, 6.5. At the age of 70, Kalashi woman, she will look like a maiden of 25 years. And lifespan of a Kalashi woman or a Kalashi man is 120 years. And they survive only on antioxidant fruits, including blueberry, blackberry, the exotic peaches, apples, as well as the almonds of Afghanistan, and the very, very rare golden wheat, which is cultivated only in that area. Chitral se leke Nuristan tak, they survive on that only. They don't take any non-vegetarian food. It's only during the wedding rituals when non-vegetarian food is served, but otherwise they don't. The Kalash people, they follow a religion which is based on ancient Rig Veda. They still practice that and they follow that. And today, after several onslaughts and many phases of conversion, even now there are around 1.5 lakh Kalashi people or Kalash people in Chitral, Sialkot area of Afghanistan, of Pakistan. And the brothers of the Kalash people in Nuristan, they are same claim, they have the same lineage, but they are now following Sunni faith of Islam. So the connect is so strong that this connect cannot be washed away. और इसीलिए अरबिक इस्लाम में निकाह नमा के दौरान कहीं पर भी हेना की रस्म नहीं होती है. It is not there in original Arabic Islam. It is there in the Central Asian, South Asian, East Asian Islam. Why? Because the henna ceremony or the mehendi ceremony is prevalent not only with the Muslim married woman but also with the Hindu and the Buddhist married woman. In Arabic Islam, why I am saying that cultural identity cannot be separated. In Arabic Islam, if someone is greeting someone, he or she will greet the person either with a turban, Arabic turban, or with an Arabic topi, not with anything else. And that is considered to be the highest form of respect in Arabia. But in Pakistan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Malaysia, when anyone, a VIP comes, तुरंत जो ग्रीट करते हैं माला दे के ग्रीट करते हैं with a flower garland. Flower in pure Islam is not considered to be sacred because it is considered to be a celebration which is related to idolatry. But this is retained in this part of the world. Arabic bread, जो हमास और वो जो कहते हैं हम, that is very very different from the Afghani bread, the Pakistani bread, or the tandoori roti or the naan of India and Southeast Asia. You won't get naan in Arabia. You will not get tandoori roti in Arabia. You will get the Arabic bread in Arabia. Why? Because wheat is common there and corn is common there and not rice. Rice is prevalent in this part of the world. Nowruz, the new year of Persia, the new year of Afghanistan, and the new year of Central Asia, is a non-Islamic ceremony. In the festival of Nowruz, they have a pot. They have a pot in which grains are given and saplings of wheat and rice is tied, is that there and there on that pot, and it is tied with a red thread around, and it is worshipped for 7 to 10 days, and then the offering is given for the harvest. उसके बाद ही हार्वेस्टिंग होती है. ये जो नौरूज की जो सेलिब्रेशन है, इसकी सेलिब्रेशन का इंटरप्रिटेशन कनेक्शन आप नवरात्रि के उस कलश के साथ कीजिए. In that kalash also, the saplings are there, either of wheat or of rice, with the sacred grains, and it is tied with a red thread around. और महिलाएं नौरूज फेस्टिवल में पूरे प्रादेशिक संस्कृति और प्रादेशिक डांस के हिसाब से यहाँ पे सर में उसको लेके चलते हैं, जैसे दक्षिण एशिया में महिलाएं सर में लेके निकलते हैं. So the commonality is there. Santosh and Manas, the biggest national river of Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan, the two biggest river there besides the Sri Darya and the Amu Darya, these are Santosh and Manas. Santosh is definitely not an Islamic name. Manas is also not an Islamic name. Santosh and Manas are legendary heroes in Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan, and the stories of Santosh and Manas is exactly same to the story of Lakshman and Lord Ram. Santosh is the elder brother, Manas is the young, and they are the national heroes there. So commonness is there in every part of the extended Puratan Bharat. British, when they came after the first Anglo-Afghan war, the first thing which they did was to separate Afghanistan from India. That was the first partition. The second partition of India took place in 1935 when Sri Lanka was cut off from the country. 1938, Burma was separated. 1898, Nepal was separated from India through an extended treaty. So lots of things are there, lots of things. Just quickly I'll wind up. Let me come to the independence period or the pre-independence period. बंटवारा का सारी चीज़ें सामने आ गया है, उस पर मुझे और कहने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. लॉर्ड कार्जन एंड लॉर्ड वेलेस्ली, they write in their letters to Queen Victoria saying that if we have to conquer this subcontinent, we cannot conquer this subcontinent by force. We have to delegitimize their culture, their tradition, their religion, their scripture, and we can do that by introducing a modern enslaved system of education based on the concept of divide impera, which means divide and rule. And then came in the Morley-Monte reforms and the implementation of the William Bentinck educational system. So from there the divide and rule started, and they succeeded in it. They partitioned the country and the Holocaust happened. The British never wanted to leave India before 1965. The writings of Lord Mountbatten and the writings of the Secretary of State, जो लंदन अक्सर थर-थर करके कांपती है ना क्लासिफाइड डॉक्यूमेंट्स सार्वजनिक करने में, इसीलिए थर-थर करके कांपती है क्योंकि इनके सारे गंदगी सामने आ जाएगा. जितने सारे क्लासिफाइड डॉक्यूमेंट्स सामने आया है, द सेक्रेटरी ऑफ स्टेट एंड लॉर्ड माउंटबेटन and the Prime Minister of UK, they all wrote to the Queen saying that we should stay in India till 1965. ये सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर के चलते थोड़ा सा ब्रिटिश साम्राज्य का प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, पर एक बार सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर ख़त्म हो जाए हम लोग इन पे दोबारा कब्जा कर लेंगे और इस सोने की चिड़िया को छोड़ेंगे नहीं. और उन्हीं सब राइटिंग्स में फिर लिखते हैं कि नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस और उसके इंडियन नेशनल आर्मी ने नाक में दम करके रखा है. आज अगर सम्मान के साथ भारत से नहीं जाते तो कल को यही लोग दौड़ा दौड़ा के मार के भगाएंगे हमें इस देश से. इसलिए जाने से पहले इस देश को टुकड़े टुकड़े कर दो, खंडित कर दो, ताकि ये देश कभी पुनर्जीवित ना हो सके. और उसी के चलते बंटवारा हुआ. रेडक्लिफ आया, आके मैप पे ऐसे करके एक लाइन खींच दिया, जिस लाइन के चलते आज त्रिपुरा में, बंगाल में रसोई घर अगर बांग्लादेश में है तो बेडरूम भारत में है. गार्डन अगर बांग्लादेश में है तो सिटिंग रूम भारत में है. सिंध में रसोई घर अगर पाकिस्तान में है, बेडरूम भारत में है. गुजरात में और सिंध में रसोई घर अगर पाकिस्तान में, भारत में बेडरूम है. ये सच्चाई है. पंडित नेहरू जब प्रधानमंत्री बने, निक्सन प्लान, चैम्बरलिन प्लान, उसके मुताबिक ये सामने आया कि चीन पे जिस हिसाब से माओ जेडुंग ने कब्जा किया है, रेड आर्मी ने कब्जा कर लिया है, ब्रिटिश इन्फ्लुएंस के लिए बहुत बड़ा खतरा होगा ये. और इसके चलते निक्सन प्लान और चैम्बरलिन प्लान के माध्यम से तिब्बत को भारत में मिला दिया जाए. ये बाकायदा ऑन रिकॉर्ड है. अमेरिका उस पर हाँ में हाँ भरे थे और यूरोप ने हाँ में हाँ भरा था. पंडित नेहरू ने कहा नहीं, हम तो प्रजातांत्रिक देश है, डेमोक्रेसी पे यकीन करते हैं, भारत किसी ने कभी किसी पे कब्जा नहीं किया, इसलिए तिब्बत को हम लोग अपना बना ही नहीं सकते हैं. राजा महेंद्र ऑफ नेपाल 1920 he came to India with a proposal for unification of Nepal with India. Same thing, Pandit Nehru and Motilal Nehru rejected that same idea. U Nu of Burma 1948, the first prime minister of independent Burma, he came over and 5 दिन तक तीन मूर्ति पे नेहरू जी से अपॉइंटमेंट पाने के लिए 5 दिन तक इंतज़ार किए. जब अपॉइंटमेंट मिला 15 मिनट के लिए तीन मूर्ति भवन पे, उन्होंने प्रपोजल रखा कि भारत और बर्मा का कॉन्फेडरेशन हो जाना चाहिए, इकोनॉमिक एंड स्ट्रेटेजिक कॉन्फेडरेशन, बिकॉज द बर्मीज नेशनल कांग्रेस नेवर वांटेड the division of Burma from India, so we want to be reunited with India once again. ऊनू के इस प्रपोजल को पंडित नेहरू ने मना कर दिया. अगला फ्लाइट पकड़ के वो चले गए पीकिंग, यानी कि मौजूदा बीजिंग, क्योंकि इतना अपमानित महसूस किए, और वहाँ जाके चीन के साथ समझौता किए. उस समझौता के माध्यम से उस दौरान 50 करोड़ रुपए चीन ने दिया और बेजिंग मैंडेले हाईवे तैयार हो गया. और आज चीन ने एक अपना मिलिट्री बेस बर्मा में बना के रखा. कोकोस आइलैंड जो अंडमान के ऊपर है, उसको पंडित नेहरू ने गिफ्ट में दिया था बर्मा को, क्योंकि ऊनू मेरे बहुत अच्छे मित्र हैं तो गिफ्ट में देता हूँ. और आज वहाँ पे चीन का मिलिट्री बेस है कोकोस में. यही चीज़ हुआ श्रीलंका के साथ, यही चीज़ हुआ मालदीव्स के साथ. मुजीबुर रहमान 1971 ये आज़ादी के लड़ाई के बाद जब बांग्लादेश की स्थापना हुई, मुजीबुर रहमान जब मिसेस इंदिरा गांधी जी से मिलने आए थे, उन्होंने बाकायदा कहा था कि बांग्लादेश का विलय हो जाए इंदिरा जी को। इंदिरा जी ने मना किया और वो समझौता हुआ था, जिसके चलते जंग तो हम लोग जीत गए थे, पर 94,000 prisoner of war from Pakistan, we let them go without keeping a condition of taking back POK and Gilgit-Baltistan. उस समय अगर मिसेस इंदिरा गांधी अगर ये करते, शिमला एग्रीमेंट जब हुआ था और जो समझौता हुआ था 72 का, पहले शिमला एग्रीमेंट और उसके बाद 72 वाला समझौता, उस दौरान अगर किए होते तो पाकिस्तान का मुद्दा कश्मीर को लेकर होता ही नहीं। इसलिए मैं समझता हूं कि पहले विकसित ज्ञान हासिल करो। विकसित ज्ञान हासिल करोगे पुराने ग्रंथों को पढ़ के, उस टेक्नोलॉजी और ज्ञान के माध्यम से विकसित भारत बनाने के लिए आप सबको एक एक नरेंद्र मोदी बनना पड़ेगा, तभी जाके हो सकता है ये। थैंक यू सो मच, प्लेजर टॉकिंग टू ऑल ऑफ यू। वंदे मातरम, भारत माता की जय। थैंक यू।